What's going on, preppers? Welcome back to the channel. Economic Prepper here. It's been a little while. It's been a while, but I'm back. I'm trying to work on my consistency here. Several things that I want to bring to you guys in today's video. We're going to talk about a potentially massive East Coast evacuation that may need to take place here in the next coming days. How this is going to impact gas prices, inflation, our supply chains at the grocery stores, at your local Walmarts, at our Costco's, and more importantly, potentially how this could impact refineries and gas prices in the immediate interim. We're just looking into this. It says here that the first named storm of 2022 potentially impacts this weekend to the states of Georgia, South Carolina coast. Now, looking at this particular weather report, this is coming up, it looks like in the Gulf of Mexico here, just south of Florida. Now, I'm no meteorologist or anything like that, but, you know, this is how it starts, right? You get some discussion, some observation of some upcoming potential storm or tropical storm, and then all of a sudden gas prices are surging because everybody's trying to fill up. Why? In this case, a lot of times what happens is, especially for Florida, and I know a lot of people who live in Florida, comment down below if you live in Florida, when there's a massive certain level of category storm coming in, the governor will issue a state of emergency and request or suggest strongly that you consider evacuating the state, or at least certain parts of the state. Now, I'm not really sure how far this is going to go on this particular situation, but it says here the potential tropical cyclone 1 is tracking toward Florida and may strengthen into tropical storm Alex before landfall this weekend. So this is this weekend. Today is Friday, you guys. So literally starting tomorrow, and I'm a little bit concerned because I've got family members in Florida. We're gonna be in Florida, so you know, we may need to change our travel plans. The first named storm of the season is likely to push into southwest Atlantic Ocean and remain off the southeast coast. Hopefully it does remain off the coast. Goes on to say with the tropical system nearby, large swells will reach our coastline and beaches later this weekend into early next week. The risk of rip currents will also increase. It says here rain chances for local areas should remain 30 to 40%. So this could really be big, guys. And what it says here also, record fuel prices could make many Floridians less willing to evacuate if they are threatened by hurricanes. Now, this is the danger of the situation. Inflation, gas prices, diesel prices, potential gas and diesel shortages, especially particularly on the East Coast, leaves a lot of families vulnerable. You know, if you can't comfortably afford to fill up your tank and potentially evacuate now, this inflation it's well beyond just a financial crisis. Inflation is now posing a life and death situation where you can't even necessarily, depending upon the cost of fuel. I mean, heck, we might even see $10 a gallon if you ask me. I really wouldn't be surprised to see $10 a gallon for fuel. But, when it costs you so much to fill up your tank, you really have to, depending upon your financial circumstance, you may have to sit back and think to yourself, hey, can I afford to move my family to safer grounds? Can I afford to get my family, to higher grounds? And that's a real scary situation to be in. It says here with the average price of a gallon of regular, this is regular, this ain't even premium gas. It says with the average price of per gallon of regular unleaded gas in Florida at a near record $4.57 on Tuesday, AAA released a survey, and the results said that 42% of Floridians might be hesitant about getting out of harm's way because of fuel prices. This tells you the current state of our economy right now. When you have a survey that says nearly 50% of Floridians are second guessing whether or not they should evacuate due to the cost of fuel. So the cost expenses are so high that certain circumstances leave families with a decision as to whether or not we can afford to get out of harm's way. This is really getting scary, you guys. And in addition to that, like I said, gas prices, we're not expecting a pullback anytime soon. Let's just be honest. In fact, I actually just watched an interview not too long ago from President Biden, and he basically said, and I should link that down below. I'll be sure. Please remind me in the comments to link it down below. I'll try to share this link in the description. President Biden recently said that there is nothing that he can do about gas prices, about the price of oil. And, you know, right now, it's not just the price of oil that's affecting gas prices. It's the demand. It's the total supply of fuel. It's the total supply of oil. But more importantly, it's even, you know, this is not even discussed as often as it should, because it's a bigger link to this whole fuel crisis that we're experiencing right now. It's the refineries, right? So there's so many refineries that are offline right now that they can't keep up with the demand. So it's almost like, you know, we're in a situation where OPEC can produce more oil, but the refineries, if they can't refine the oil so that it's a usable product for people to fuel their vehicles with, their trucks with, their, you know, and of course the byproduct of gasoline and unleaded gas is diesel. So when the refineries can't keep up with that demand, that forces diesel prices, that forces the production of diesel to be subdued, thus increasing the cost of diesel. Therefore, this cost gets pushed on to the consumers, further increasing the price of the gas that we see at the pumps, because, well, the tankers bring the tankers bring the unleaded fuel to us. So if they're paying more just to operate their vehicles, to operate their trucks, to run their businesses, well, what do you think is going to happen for us at the pumps, right? Now, talking about inflation, we were literally, I just got back from the barbershop, and, you know, I took my son to get his haircut. He's in the house right now, but I took him to get his haircut, and the prices, even the barbershop, you know, we overlook these little things, right? The barbershop prices have gone up on me. Now, little story before that, because this really surprised me. This is what we don't see on TV, right? So I was parking the car. We had an appointment. I had my son run inside. I didn't want him to be late. So he goes inside the barbershop, and not 4 or 5 minutes later, I get a text from him. He's inside. I'm parking the car, and it says, Dad, there's a guy on the floor. He's having an epileptic seizure. So I'm like, you know, I hop out the car immediately. I rush inside as if I even know what to do to help someone who's having an epileptic seizure. But I walk into the scene, big guy. I mean, this guy, he had to be 260 pounds, and he was laying down, so it's kind of hard to tell how tall he was, but I could tell he's at least 6 feet tall. So it's a big guy, and he's laying on the ground, and he's like, you know, shaking, you know, like whole body is shaking. And apparently, because I overheard what had happened from someone who was there, because I wasn't in there when it happened, apparently he was standing up, he was fine. All of a sudden, boom, boom, like the guy falls back, hits the glass. There's a window there. He hits the glass. Thankfully, there was a sofa there. He then, the sofa was right in front of the glass. He lands on the sofa and then falls onto the floor, and he's just shaking, and he was foaming at the mouth. I've never ever seen this before, and I felt so bad, because it's like, well, what the heck can I do? Now, immediately I was going to call 911, but everyone was already on the phones, you know, multiple cell phones. There was already a police officer in there. Thankfully, he was actually in there to get his haircut. And I just had to sit back, because it's like, you know what, there's nothing I can do right now. I'm hoping things work out well for this man who's laying on the floor. My son is watching this. He's only 13 years old. And here's the thing that really got me, though. You know, this is, you know, so this was I later learned that he was a 35-year-old black man because he had dog tags on his, he was wearing a dog tag which had his name, his age, his date of birth, and it indicated on there that he had an epileptic seizure issue, or that, you know, that's his diagnosis. So that's why we knew what was going on with him. So, but there's a white guy sitting in the sofa, holding his hand, telling him, you know, rubbing his arm, holding his other hand, telling him it's going to be okay. And it you know, kind of made me a little bit misty-eyed that, you know, I'm pretty sure that these guys didn't know each other. These are all just random people who just happened to be in the barbershop getting their hair cut. And, you know, beyond racial boundaries, people can come together and just help one another, and it doesn't freaking matter. And I just love seeing that. There's no way I was going to take a picture of that, but, you know, just, you know, because I wanted to share that with you guys. But it was really nice to see the fact that just so many people were just helping this guy who was on the ground, right? So anyway, fast forward, within 3-4 minutes, I'm already hearing the sirens, and paramedics are coming in, EMS or EMT are coming in. They came in with a stretcher. And so, man, the police officers came first. They came in with a stretcher. They're trying to diagnose what's going on. Some of the people who are already in the barbershop let them know, hey, he's wearing a dog tag, he's got this epileptic seizure, whatever. So they start trying to, they wrap like a towel around him and up under his arms to kind of like lift him up. He's a big guy, real big guy. And so he starts waking up, and like his eyes are so wide, and he's just freaking out, and like they're trying to calm him down. You don't want this big guy getting all, you know, paranoid around you. You really don't. Big hands, you know. And so anyway, like he kind of relaxes, and you know, meanwhile the guy on the sofa is still kind of holding his hand. Hey buddy, we're here for you. Letting him know what happened, because he's like kind of waking up out of it a little bit. And they're trying to like let him know what had happened. He didn't even know where he was. So it's just a crazy situation. And eventually they ended up, you know, getting him lifted up enough to get the stretcher under him, and they had to strap him in. They first put him on his back, and then they realized, you know, they ended up moving him so that he was on his side, and then they strapped him down so he didn't like move while being on the stretcher, and they hauled him off. But I could tell he was breathing, so that was good. And his eyes were kind of like rolling behind in the back of his head, but at least I saw him breathing, and that was good. CPR wasn't, but it was just a crazy situation. Anyway, I'm just saying communities can come together regardless of what's going on, but we all need to be prepared. Part of that preparation, I mean, maybe for that barbershop would be, you know, hey, maybe you need to have epileptic, you know, EpiPens, or, you know. But then again, it's kind of like, okay, well, when do you administer that? Because you don't want to be at risk of a lawsuit because you administered an EpiPen to someone who didn't necessarily need it. I can't advise on that situation, but it all comes down to preparation. Now the good thing is at least the man who was having the seizure, he was prepared. He prepped by having the dog tags to at least allow people around him to know who he was, to be able to contact relatives, to know that, hey, he does suffer from epileptic seizures. So, you know, it's all about preparation. I just wanted to kind of quickly share this with you guys because it got me today. It really got me. And but the point behind going to the barbershop, or telling you guys about the barbershop, was that inflation hit the barbershop too. We go to I go to pay after my son eventually got his hair cut after all this, right? And the barber says it's going to be $30. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up, haircuts weren't any more than $10. Some barbershops near me, they were $8 for, you know, for a haircut. You know, there's no beard. Kid 13 years old, he doesn't have a beard yet. So to spend $30 for a haircut, right? So I go and swipe. So I'm like, all right, man, whatever. You know, I gotta pay. So I put the card in, and I normally tip, right, and you know, on there it just says 18%. I'm like, you know, give them the 18%. It comes to $37. I almost lost it. I was so shocked by how expensive this has become. So now, this is going to affect people differently. Me first of all, now that because after the price hike, after the tax, and after the 18% gratuity, which I selected, I'm not blaming anyone for that, came to $37. So I'm like, okay, several things are going to happen financially for me, or several things are going to happen that are going to cause me to respond financially to these decisions that the barbershop made. Now, it's not the barbershop's fault that that their expenses have gone up, likely, which is what prompted them to increase their prices. Everything around them's going up. So this is a perpetual problem here that the Biden administration, that the Fed is going to have to do something about, because we can't keep chasing higher and higher prices. My first response is, number one, we're probably going to go less often, so they're going to make more money per visit. But now, if everyone else does that, now they're making less money per month because people are coming less frequently because it's more expensive. Two, I don't want to tip now. I don't want to tip, or at least I don't know if I want to tip 18%, knowing that a haircut is going to, a basic haircut is going to cost almost $40 now, right? So, you know, barbers are going to get hit. Barbershop owners are going to be hit, right? You know, these are businesses. These are business owners, and it's hitting every level of society. It's not just the restaurants going up on their menu prices. Tax revenue is going to be impacted, right? You know, people are going to start pulling back because you're being financially cornered when everywhere you go, everything's more expensive. Gas is more expensive. Food is more expensive. When you're at Walmart, when you're at Costco, when you're at Sam's Club, when you're at BJ's, food is more expensive. Period, hands down. Inventory levels right now, supplies empty. The shelves are not empty right now. So that is a good thing. However, the prices are so high, people will personally have food shortages because they're looking to cut back, right? So yeah, things are getting very, very real. I just got another notice saying that my insurance is going up. So it's like, and why is the insurance going up? Well, the house, and I previously got a notice saying that my insurance was going up, but I have a rental property and it was reassessed, and so the value of that property went up, and so now the cost to rebuild the structure has gone up, and so the insurance policy associated with that property has gone up. So everything is going up. All I'm saying, guys, is prepare. Things are getting worse. And we have to prepare, and we have to, you know, and you can't prepare unless you know what's coming, right? But, you know, something's got to give here, and I'm predicting that things will eventually get better, but at the same time, I am predicting that things will get significantly worse beforehand. So we're by no means out of the storm. So, you know, with this East Coast warning, with regard to the weather situation that we're expecting coming up out of South Florida, I'm expecting, and also, you know, we're right in the driving season. I'm expecting gas prices nationally to hit $6 very, very soon. I would not be surprised to see $10 a gallon at some point in time. I would not be surprised to see $10 a gallon for gas at some point in 2022. It's going to get to a point where you go to fill up your gas tank, and it's going to cost the average Toyota Camry $150 just to fill up your gas tank. Now, you know, that's going to change a lot of habits. It's going to get real. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you made it this far in the video, definitely give the video a like. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I would love to have you guys as a part of the family. I wish you guys the best. Enjoy the weekend. And drop me some comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. Hit me up in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next video.